Hey, welcome on board, everyone. We'll continue taking your wedding observations and calls. My God, income inequality. Well, we have a guy who I'm impressed with. He joined us in Phoenixville. Brian Costello is one of the Chester County commissioners. He was out there in Phoenixville, that big Meadowbrook Golf Club broadcast we did with 100 people or more there because of the eminent domain issue, the land grab, and the issues of personal liberty with your property issues. Jim Gerlach is resigning. That means that come November, he will no longer be the congressman, and Republicans now have an opportunity. Some see it as a crisis. I see it as an opportunity to put someone into that seat that would be up to the standards of Gerlach, and I hope even a bit more limited government and more on that side than Gerlach was even. Sadly, one of the front runners is State Senator John Rafferty. Now, I played you extensively yesterday the things that this man said about the DREAM Act and gangs and crazy talk of that nature. He's a classic rhino, beyond belief. So we're seeing this play out in Burlington County with Runyon, who should be the Republican nominee, and we're seeing it over in Chester County with the issue of who should be the nominee on the Republican side. Let's go to Ryan Costello. Ryan, welcome back. Thanks for joining us.
Tom, good to be here. You're being a little too modest. There was more than 100 people that you had out there.
Well, thank you. Thanks very much. We try to downplay, but it was a great event, and you were a real find for us. We knew your name and various times over the years, but coming there and being part of it, I think gives me a sense of where you are. And then we had the stunning news of Jim Gerlach, and we know this tension, Ryan. And look, we want a big tent. We want people that are moderates, and we want people that are conservative. The one issue that I am adamant that is a deal breaker, I think, though, is it's got to be about limited government, and limited government taxation-wise and personal liberty-wise, like the land grab. It can't be the intrusive nature of some of these people that call themselves Republicans. Being Republican, being conservative is not about pro-life and all. That's one thing. It's about that exactly, I think.
Well, you're right. And if we'll recall in 2009 and 2010, when we had a Democratic House along with the Democratic Senate and President Obama, we got Obamacare, and we knew we had to pass it before we found out what was in it. And then we got 20,000 pages of regulations. And instead of saving $2,500 for middle-income families, it's going to cost them $2,500 and reduce the quality of care and access. If we have a Democratic House after in 2015 and 2016, then I'm sure we'll get a cap-and-trade tax to fend off what these liberals are continuously calling global warming and all that stuff. So it's critical that we retain this seat. That has to be the number one priority, and we need to put somebody up, I think, that is a common-sense conservative that can attract independent votes and is viewed as open-minded and sensible, but also principled.
Yeah,
and that's where I'm at.
That's exactly. You hit it on the head, what we're looking for. What would you say out there in Chester County? In addition, you mentioned Obamacare as the congressman. Is there another overriding issue that I'm interested in where you might differ with some of these people that we hear that might be nominees?
Well, let me say this to you. You just mentioned income inequality, okay? And this is what the Democrats are going to run on. It's just class warfare 3.0 or 4.0. And I understand that there's income inequality. And I'm not running for office, any office that I run for, in order to protect the rich, okay? But we do have a capitalist system, and we need to understand that when we talk about income equality and you look at the data, number one, that data does not factor in the entitlement programs that many people have earned or they're entitled to when they start talking about poverty levels. So I think here again, we're going to be dealing with political correctness, okay, and a largely mainstream media that's going to be sympathetic to what sounds good, okay, rather than what we need to responsibly do to get our fiscal house in order. I know Democrats are sort of viewing this debt problem as some sort of nuisance that can be overcome. I don't see it that way.
Mm-hmm.
At some point in time, Ben Bernanke and I guess now Janet Yellen are going to decide that we can't just throw $80 billion a month into the economy and create a sugar high. At some point in time, we need job creation. Job creation comes about when you have stable tax rates and certainty in the employment sector, and you don't get that when companies are just waiting for the next shoe to drop on whether it's Obamacare or how they want to raise energy costs or all the uncertain. And we can talk about what they're doing with the NLRB board. I mean, I don't even think that's not legal. I mean, even the Supreme Court has ruled that that's not legal what they're doing. So there's a host of issues that we need to be focused on, and if we're not focused on, Obamacare in another sector of our economy is going to come right down at us again. That's
Absolutely.
how I feel.
Well, Ryan, I can't imagine. I'm not going to drag you into it at this point. I'll talk to a Rafferty just from conversations before with him. What we don't need is this notion you've been there forever, you're next in line, you were at a state level. I can't imagine he would be able to articulate what you just did. I don't think he has any knowledge of it by interviewing the man, et cetera. We need somebody who knows the issues, and as we said, is a common sense conservative. That's Chester County to me. Do you have a website set up for where you are now? Have you set up? You haven't declared anything yet, but you're considering it. Where do people find Ryan Costello?
So the best way to find me would be on Facebook. You can go to Ryan Costello, Chester County Commissioner or County Commissioner Ryan Costello. That would be the best ways to get a hold of me at this point. And I anticipate making an announcement the early part of next week. I'm getting a lot of phone calls and a lot of emails supporting me. And if anybody listening wants to encourage me to run, I certainly encourage you to get on Facebook and find me, friend me, and that's really where I'm at right now. Obviously, as you know, the moment that you declare, the Federal Election Commission has a bunch of regulations, and I'm sure that, there's somebody listening that'll, want to test me on that. It's probably, you probably have a liberal too, just checking to see what we're thinking in ordinary, hardworking America, listening in would try and trip me up if I wasn't doing things properly, and that's what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to be very open, transparent. We're going to do this the right way if I get in this campaign. I am optimistic we're going to keep this seat. And I'm optimistic in 2016 we're going to get a Republican president, and we're going to get back to what I remember in the 1980s as Ronald Reagan's America, where we're optimistic, we're working together, we're not trying to slash and burn each other, but we're not going to grow. You don't make America better by growing government, okay?
Absolutely, Ryan.
American exceptionalism wasn't granted to us. It actually was by the hardworking Americans and veterans throughout the 20th century, but we need to earn our American exceptionalism every day.
Well put, Ryan. Let me put you on hold because Eric wanted to get just one thing with you, and we'll catch up next week or so.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ryan. I put you on hold. Ryan Costello, who's a Chester County Commissioner and a guy we met at Meadowbrook coming out there. You heard some of the things he said. I would tell you that a guy like John Rafferty can't articulate any of this. You're out there in Chester County, particularly Rich Davis and the boys, et cetera. Look at this guy. I'm not sure who the other potential candidates. I know Rafferty's name's being thrown around, though, in some of the stuff that I've seen. We don't need more. This shouldn't be seen as, oh, my God, Dom, we're going to lose unless we put a moderate in there, unless we put somebody squishier in there that has an R in front of their name. But there's nothing about them that's about limited government. I'm not talking pro-life. I'm not talking all these other. I'm saying limited government, meaning less taxation, less government intrusion. I see the Raffertys of the world as part of the problem in the State House. Why would we send him to Washington? Well, that's what we need to do. We need to moderate to win.